What's the tea, boys?
I'm watching Chris from the Ghost Inside play Ghost Inside songs, and he does it Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Wednesday he goes, I'm going to play Smash Mouth All-Star on Saturday, and he's playing it right now.
Oh, that's so good. It's so freaking good.
You hear it?
Now I can.
It's awesome because, like, Ghost Inside's a pretty big band, but he only has, like, 30, 40 people watching at a time, so you can chat with him and stuff. It's really cool.
Dude, I love that.
And the
he
Ghost
actually
Inside
responds to everybody.
Yeah, the Ghost Inside's like one of my favorite bands, so.
Well, I know that.
Yeah. Oh, I know
that
you know,
about you.
girl. Yeah, he's like, first thing this morning, I was like, did you prepare for All-Star? And he goes, yeah, it took me like 20 minutes to learn how to play it.
The 3-chord progression of All-Star.
Yeah.
I like that. Who is it? The Foo Fighters do that thing where they talk about like all those like 3-chord progression songs, and they play like every hit in like 10 minutes.
Well,
and he makes a new hit. He's like, I bet I can make a new like hit song on the spot, and he does it. Dave Grohl does it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's hilarious.
So I told him too last on Wednesday. I was like, dude, you should do the Chunk No Captain Chunk cover of All-Star.
Hey, dude, this house that we're making an offer on down by that park, which
link it in the chat, bro. Link it in the chat, bro.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. It's near do you guys remember, well, do you remember where Pat Riddle's family lives?
Yeah, of course.
It's like in that same neighborhood.
Oh, that's nice, man.
Like Candy Cane Lane area. That's where.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's a good spot.
Yeah, it's like because down by Sunset is some not great areas, but
it's hit or miss, right?
Yeah, but this area where the Riddles family live is pretty good.
But that's Lewiston, though, right? Like one block, all of a sudden you're like, wow, every house is so nice, and you go one other block away, and it's just like, oh, okay.
I am posting this to you guys in the Facebook chat.
Oh, we're live. Hey, guys.
No one's watching yet, right?
No.
Probably not. Maybe.
It does say 5 eyes. It say 5 eyes.
Well, then people are watching.
Oh, hey. What was I going to do?
Best friends.
It's the sports program on TSPN with Derek, Zach, and Sean, who's been here the whole time. Head over to timespentpoorly.com and give the show a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and help move this show into more people's suggested lists. This show is also streamed live on many platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss out on an opportunity to chat in and give the guys a piece of your mind during the broadcast. Want to support the show? Great! Go to patreon.com/timespentpoorly to see how you can do that. And now it's my pleasure to bring you the hosts of the sports program on TSPN, Derek, Zach, and Sean.
Oh, hey. Welcome to the show.
This is the best house you've sent me.
Yeah, this house is sweet.
Yeah, I know,
This is badass. Funny story. I got absolutely hammered in that house when I was 19. One of my buddies' parents used to live there. I was like, this looks really familiar. Like, I was like, that's a garage I played some beer pong in my life.
So that garage is super long. Like it's
yeah.
You wouldn't even like when you look at the front door, you're like, oh, this is a little garage here, and then you like open the garage doors, and it's like super long. It'd be a great little party garage. Also,
that house is cool.
Shop also has like this cool lifted area in there. Also, it's got enough space for me to do like an actual podcast studio.
And that whole concept of like the deck above the garage is like one of my favorite things ever. So, and it creates some cool elements in the house because of that like layering, right? Like you have the steps that go down into the living room. You have the nice hardwood. I'll murder someone for you to get that house. Yeah, whatever it takes. Perfect. If I need to drive up there in the snow.
I just hope
chuck a bitch.
I just hope you guys get into something before July.
If we get into well, first off, if we get something before July, we'll just host. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work.
If you get into that on before July, we're getting smashed on that deck, my dudes.
Oh,
just absolutely.
There's also cool, the backyard though. So like the backyard is like layered also, and it's like super private. It's pretty cool. Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of getting smashed. That's where Sean's gonna get smashed on the floor.
Oh, I'm gonna be a mess.
Welcome to the Home Buyers Show. Dude, that'd be fun. No. Well.
I would watch that show.
Also, the house is right by Sunset Park, and I'm planning on getting my pickleball on.
Oh, dude, sign me up. Get me into them racket sports.
I'll just be your cheerleaders, guys. I'll be your cheerleader.
You can play. Apparently, so this guy I work with, he's like super into pickleball. And so I was like, what is it? And it's basically like it's like ping pong and tennis like mixed together.
Yeah.
It's cool. And then he showed me a few videos of like the gameplay and stuff, and I'm like, this doesn't look too bad. Like it's not as like it's like kind of low what's it called? Low like low intensity, like a good way to
call it like high impact, the opposite, right? Like high intensity. High
impact. It's like low impact is what this one like. So it's like you could be competitive, but you're not like wearing on your knees and stuff. Which I mean, I'm large, and that's something I got to think about. So I was like, hey, I'm interested in playing. So then I was like, hey, can I borrow a couple rackets? And he's like, yeah, you can borrow a couple of my rackets. So he brought me 2 of them and a bunch of balls because I asked for a couple extras so that if Bree wanted to go with me, you know, or if like one of you guys were up here or something. So anyway, this house, it's like right by Sunset Park. And apparently they put in like 6 actual pickleball courts, not even tennis courts. They put in real no shit pickleball courts at Sunset Park, which is crazy.
Yeah, I love that.
Because you know, also Sunset has the Frolf. They have the frisbee golf course there.
Disc golf?
Yeah.
It's like the alternative sports park.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, it's cool. It's cool they have. I mean, I think frisbee golf sucks big old bag of dicks, but
oh yeah,
it's the worst and dumbest sport ever.
I got really.
Yeah, I don't wear enough hemp. I don't wear enough hemp to play frisbee golf,
dude. You just have to put it in your butt.
The golf or the hemp?
The hemp.
So I will say that in one way I did have fun playing frisbee golf is that it is because each of the holes is so far from each other. It is fun to absolutely throw that frisbee disc as hard as you fucking can. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like that part's kind of cool. But then about into the second or third hole, you're like, am I playing frisbee golf?
And then you realize what you're doing.
Like you realize like how shitty it is, kind of. You're like, am I? Oh, right.
Yeah.
This sport sucks.
Well, yeah, I guess anyone that plays something like that and takes it really seriously, like that's cool that they have something that they're passionate about, right? Like I'm passionate about way dumber shit.
No, and I will parrot that. I do. I also think even though I think sometimes these players can be annoying, I do have like a respect even for people who do darts like at the bar and take it super seriously.
Well, people that are good.
That's where I draw the line. Darts is exactly where I draw the line because the people that are the best at darts are always the least athletic. They're the drunkest person there. They have a hard time keeping a steady job. Like that is where I draw the line. Any other pool, fine. Frisbee golf, okay. Pickleball, fuck yes.
Come play
darts,
baby.
Darts, no.
Well, so here's the thing with the darts. First off, have you ever seen that movie Best in Show with like Eugene Levy? It's about like the dog.
Absolute classic, yes.
I feel like you could absolutely make a Best in Show style mockumentary with like a dart league, like with people because of how. Have you ever been around people in a dart league? They take it so seriously.
I've gone to dart leagues just to like drink and watch how serious they take it.
I played I did 1 year of a dart league and I'm okay. I'm not very good. But they like didn't mind me on their team because of my handicap or whatever. And so I would be on this team, and then if you like broke different little rules, like people would get legit pissed off at you.
Because they take it so serious. And you'll see more fist bumps in the first 15 minutes. Oh. Kinzer. Kinzer's totally the person I was thinking of. Fist bumping motherfucker. I love it.
Yeah, I played dart.
You're supposed to, but aren't you kind of supposed to fist bump after almost every turn? So
that's what I'm saying. You'll see more fist bumps in 15 minutes than you will in any other sport, the duration of the sport.
So, okay. When I did dart league, if you don't know these rules, you basically have to get like jumped in. Like it's so taken so serious. So when I did dart league, I wish I could make a best in league. I'm gonna write a best in show like style mockumentary about the season I played in darts because it was bizarre from like an outsider's point of view. The first time I went up with these darts, first off, my grandfather gave me these like old darts of his, so they're super cool. But I didn't go buy like flights or anything for them, so I'm using like these old like 1970s style like just I don't care. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So I go up it's like my turn, and I don't like fist bump the guy, and then he's basically like Jordan in that Jordan documentary was like. So I took it personally. Like, you know how like
and I took that personally.
You know how like fucking petty like Jordan was in that documentary. Honestly, that documentary made me like Jordan less because of how
I'm sure it did.
I never really liked him, so whatever, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I love him.
I love him too.
I think he's trash, dude. Overrated.
No,
I think
he's a jerk, though.
So take young Jordan and put him in how the game's played now. He'd be filthy, dude. He'd be nasty. Yeah.
He'd be so good.
Well, so there was that comment like 2 weeks ago from like it was Kevin Garnett, right? And he said that people from his generation and earlier couldn't play in today's NBA. And I think that's total crap, honestly. Like if Kevin Garnett's implying that he couldn't have been one of those like inside outside 3-point shooting power forwards, he could have. It's just like a learned part of the sport, right? Yeah. Like
just work on your shot in the off season. Like what do you do?
Dude,
but the one thing that is different is the probably like the training, right? Like it's like sports science has improved so much that there's just more of these like freak athletes. Like now freak athletes don't have to be born like Jordan. Like freak athletes can get made, right? Yeah. We actually see college basketball players that aren't athletic enough for the league. Look at all the white ones. Frank Kaminsky, JJ Redick, Kyle Korver, all these guys that were snipers in college, but they didn't translate it first because they didn't have the athleticism. Someone worked with them to get that part of their game up. It used to be, let's take this 7-footer who can't shoot the ball and we'll teach him how to shoot because he's got the size. Now they can say, let's teach a dude who knows how to shoot the ball and play the game. Let's teach them athleticism. Like, that's how much sports science has come along. So this is the best year of Frank Kaminsky's career, and Frank the Tank's been garbage his whole career so far.
I was going to say also, like you can't tell me that like in his prime, Shaquille O'Neal wouldn't have been an absolute monster in today's league. However, I don't think he would have been able to play as long though, because they
shorter career. Because he played a really long career.
He did play a really long career, and I think with how much expectation there is on like ball movement and like getting up and down the court now.
Yeah.
I just don't know I don't know how long he would get out of it. Just like I don't personally think that Zion is going to play 15 years. I don't think he is going to get 15 years out of that.
No, because he looks like he's gained weight just this season. Just this season since it started. So while he's playing a professional sport that involves you running up and down a court consistently, he's gaining weight.
I don't know. That boy, I don't get it, man.
But I brought up the reason I brought up Frank Kaminsky though is because like I've actually watched a couple of Phoenix Suns games this year because they're competing with the best of the league now, right? Like, so they're actually fun to watch. Like national TV games, I'll put on a Phoenix Suns game, and I haven't done that since. Remember that one year they had Shaq? Everyone forgets that.
Yeah,
they had Shaq for a year.
Yeah,
Shaq and Steve Nash combo. Everyone's only going to remember, like, Shaquille's retired now. People say Lakers, Magic, and then that one championship with the Heat, right? That's 3 teams. He also played for the Boston Celtics at the end. And the Phoenix Suns. And am I forgetting another one? Like, he played for at least 5 teams.
Phoenix Suns, Boston for sure. There might have. I mean, what's cool is like, I mean, okay, so like, admittedly, I have a bias in this, and I think Zach, you know this. Like, I love Shaquille O'Neal. Like, Shaq's like one of my favorite players of all time. Right. I also think the dude is hilarious. Like, I think he's actually. It's funny that they make fun of his intelligence so much because I think the guy is like super smart. I mean, he has a.
He's a doctorate. Yeah. He has a doctorate.
Right, like
and something.
He's done a bunch of stuff, like, and he's like super motivated, and I think that's cool. But like that season he played in Phoenix, also people also don't remember that it wasn't even that half bad of an experiment either. Like they weren't terrible with Shaq.
No, it's just like anywhere that Shaq went where he didn't win a championship, no one's going to talk about, right? Like, because like. And that's not just Shaq. That's any player. If you didn't win a championship somewhere, you're probably not going to get talked about too much later down the road. He just had such a great career elsewhere, right? Like he was just such a force. And I think if people don't think he would be good in today's NBA, they're wild because you mentioned Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson's 6'7", 6'6", and nobody can stop him in the post. Switch him out for Shaquille O'Neal. You know,
right?
Who's going to guard him? They can't guard 6'7" Zion.
Right. And Shaq was, I mean, I don't know. But although I will say that just longevity wise, probably not as long though. But, I mean, you're seeing it even in, man, I hate to say it, but like even in Portland, like Nurkic, man, like he's pretty injury prone now.
Yeah. And I don't think him trimming up, slimming up would prevent any of that. Just big dudes don't last long. And there's such a risk, right? Like there's a lot of really good young bigs in the league, right? Karl Anthony Towns never stays healthy. Ayton's only in his 3rd year and he's already missed some games. Bagley has only really been hurt once, but he plays in Sacramento, so we'll never even know if he's good. Like we'll never hear about it. He could be having an all-star season. I wouldn't know. But there's a lot of those guys.
Even Zach Collins is now already like he's out indefinite right now, and I don't.
30 year in a row, right? 30 year in a row.
30 year in a row.
What's his deal?
He's just I don't know.
Big dude.
Injury, or has it been different stuff, or what?
I know he's been. So part of it is like been his shoulder. Like he had the shoulder for like 2 years, and then he do ankle in the bubble.
He's had different stuff. Yeah, he's not like Nurkic, who tends to just keep getting the same thing over and over. But a lot of big guys like Nurkic just get the same thing. And I feel like if Zion stays big, you'll start to see the same thing with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. To say that people in old NBA couldn't play in new NBA, it's just a different game.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of the game though, there have been some really good games. So before we started the show, I mentioned that I wanted to mention on the air. Melo's been lights out for like the last 3 games. Like the Blazers have some injuries. Like Nurkic is out, but like Enes Kanter has been pretty solid in his place. Which, by the way, when they went to the playoffs and got really far into the playoffs, they had Enes Kanter on that team, and then when they sent him to Boston last year specifically, I said, man, that's a shitty move. Like,
right.
Kanter is a good personality to have on that team, and he's not known for defense. Like, I think Hassan Whiteside was a great defensive player last year, actually. But like Kanter can hold his own, and Kanter's a great offensive scorer.
Yeah, he's great around the basket. I think he's been great since like the Utah days, honestly. Like he's a natural offensive player. But I think what's cool about your team, like Portland's learning how to play defense. Like it's very similar to the team last year, especially because of the injuries, right? Like it's kind of put them back in the same spot. But all the people you weren't getting defense from last year are really starting to shine. And you're even getting it from Melo. But equally as cool about him playing defense is that he's also shooting less shots and still getting 23 points in a game. Right. You know, it used to take Melo 20 plus shots to get 20 points because he's just pure volume. Now he's shooting like 11 shots and still getting 20 plus points a game off the bench.
Gotten better. And then also let's throw in there, dude, I love Gary Trent Jr. Man, that guy what a pickup. And
I would say that was the best part of the Rodney Hood injury, right? Like Gary Trent got more playing time.
Right. And then Hood's been back. He's been a little inaccurate right now, a little rusty, but he's back. He'll get better. Mm-hmm. And then I do think that like Covington's been solid. Like the pickups they got in the offseason have been really good. Like we're seeing defense happen in Portland, and it's
so that's where the defense is. That's a good point because Derek Jones Jr., we're never going to talk about him because he doesn't score even 10 points a game, right? But Derek Jones Jr. is everywhere. He's so long and athletic. Like that's why you make that switch, right? Because what did they give up for him? I'm trying to think of like they gave up. He starts over Collins. When Collins was healthy, he started over Collins. And I think it's just because like Collins is a chippy defender, but Derek Jones Jr. is a long athletic freak show. So it's like you have to have that in your starting lineup somewhere.
And then Covington's been great. I mean, Portland's got a good team right now. Dude, the West is so interesting, but actually what's cool about this year is I think the East is actually really interesting now too.
Yeah. And that wasn't like something that you anticipated, right?
I think that we all like last year, the East was interesting in that Miami got to the game. Yeah. But like me, it wasn't. I guess it was interesting to me that in that Miami got to the game because I honestly just thought the Bucks were just going to do it. I thought the Bucks were going to get there, go all the way, go against LeBron. But
and this year the Heat are 11-14. Like I don't even know. That's going to be crazy to go from maybe not even making the playoffs a year later. You don't see that in basketball a lot. You see it in football all the time. You know, It's the curse. If you lose the Super Bowl, if you're the 49ers and you lose the Super Bowl, you're not making the playoffs the next year. But that's not just the 49ers, man. Falcons did the same thing. Every team does that.
Yeah.
You're leaving a bad taste in my mouth with that comment.
We all have to deal with it, man.
Well,
but
okay, so do we want to put a little? Well, we should talk about it.
Well, we'll get there real quick. I was gonna say one other thing though. I know it was just against the Wizards, but like Derrick Rose is putting up points. He got traded to the Knicks, which we talked about, like we texted about, but we haven't talked about it on a show. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were upset because they said, "This is Thibodeau. Thibodeau doesn't like this team is not a championship contender, right? So like Thibodeau really wants a 7th or 8th seed, and what's the point, right? Like, what's the point of just barely making the playoffs? Well, to some people that matters. So going out and getting Derrick Rose, getting someone he's worked with in the past, he knows is going to get you double-digit scoring off the bench. I think that's an awesome move.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but remember the Rose, Stoudemire, Melo team in New York that failed? Like, it's kind of cool he's returning there in a completely different situation and has a chance to do well.
Well, and I hate that, like, what's the point of making the 8th seed into the playoffs? Like, the point is your fans don't want to see you fucking be shitty all the time.
So actually what I was going to say is I bet you of all the people saying, like, what's the point, I doubt any of those people are New York Knicks fans. Mm-hmm. Like, they want their team to...
Some are, but, like, but I think some of them don't understand that, like, the Knicks have tried that strategy, right? The Knicks were bad for a really long time, and they didn't get anything out of it.
No, nothing worked out.
Yeah.
They keep
Sorry, go ahead.
They draft terribly.
Dude, remember the whole Zion debacle? The whole Zion thing. They had the whole plan worked out that if they got Zion, they were going to trade him to the Pelicans to try to get Davis and this whole thing. Yeah. And then the Pelicans got the draft. They didn't even get it.
Because the lottery is silly, I think.
The best players that the Knicks have had in the past 20 years are people they got from other teams. Melo wasn't drafted by them. Their best player right now is Julius Randle. God bless him. God bless Julius Randle, the absolute man. But he's their best player.
I love Julius Randle.
It's not anyone they drafted. RJ Barrett, who they had to take instead of Zion because that's what they got stuck with. RJ Barrett is, I don't think, there's always a point when you realize like the guy is just not going to develop, right? Like there's like a certain point where you're like, oh, maybe he's not going to figure it all out. And I think we're at that point with him. Like we could be wrong. There's a couple guys who just, it takes 4 or 5 years. They're young dudes. Brandon Ingram's a great example, right? Like Brandon Ingram is a superstar now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, even his last like 2 seasons in LA, he was doing really good.
I agree. He just like, he was a little bit of a slow starter. I don't know. And maybe not, I shouldn't say that RJ Barrett isn't going to be good. What I'm saying is they picked him the second of the draft, right? Second player of the draft because they had to. He's at 16 points a game right now. I think that's where he's around there the rest of his career. He's a good like number 3 guy on an okay team. But they don't draft well. So maybe let Tibbs do what Tibbs does and go get his guys. And I hope he drafts better for them, right? Like, I'm trying to remember who they got this year. They got that dude from Dayton. Toppin.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he does well. Like, I'm hoping he ends up being what they want him to be, but pretty sure he's averaging like 3 points a game right now, 4.8 points a game.
I don't know, man. I feel like if I'm
Toppin.
Oh, I heard some sneakers on the court there, brother.
I was looking them up, and then they have like these plays that go like automatically on ESPN, like highlights. It's funny because if you look at the East, there's a lot of teams there that you might hear like, well, if you're not a contender, like try to tank to get more stuff. Like, but like if I'm a Hawks fan, like Atlanta, like I don't want to waste what potential Trae Young has. Like I want to try to get into the playoffs with Trae Young. So
I think they make it.
Yeah, no, I mean I do too. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like the whole tanking thing. Like if you're like a team that doesn't tank but that isn't very good is like the Sacramento Kings. Like every year is so close to like maybe getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the Seattle Mariners of basketball teams.
They really are, yeah. and every year, it's like what does a team like that do? Like just continue. That's a tough team to bring in free agents, like big names. It's Sacramento.
You know who's doing okay right now, which makes me, if we're going to keep talking about the East, like there's a couple of teams that are doing bad where I'm like, I think they're trying and they're just this bad. Washington's one of them. They're just too bad to win games. Detroit's trying. They can't do anything. And the Cavs, they were like 10-11 at one point. Now they're 10-17. I think they're trying. I think they're just pretty banged up. I'm happy for the Hornets, though, because the Hornets are a team that also seems like they draft like Jordan drafts like dog shit. Like he's the one who drafted Frank the Tank as a lottery pick. And it took Frank 8 years of learning how to be an NBA player to where he's serviceable.
Didn't we kind of learn in that Jordan documentary that he like really wants to like help out dudes from like NC, and like he always like would try to bring in.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think.
It's not just NC though. He's like all about the blue blood schools. Like if you're from any of the blue blood schools and you played 4 years, he eats that up. But guess what? 4-year college players are 4-year college players for a reason. Like they stayed in college because no one was going to draft them the first 3 years. So
he'd be really interested in a Grayson Allen.
Yeah, he would love Grayson Allen, man. Actually, I don't think I guarantee he's never drafted a Duke player. Guaranteed.
Duke. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I absolutely guarantee there's no Duke players on that team. And if there was, there would be rumors of Jordan harassing them, right? Like guaranteed. Like he would come down to the court and just school him real quick.
But if Grayson Allen played for another university though, where he went like 4 years, he would be Grayson Allen.
Jordan would be slobbing that knob.
Grayson Allen is a turd from
a turd
that won't flush. Actually, he might be flushed now. Finally, is he
certified turd?
No, he gets minutes still for the Grizzlies, and because like last night he started against the Lakers. He scored 23 points. They looked up on the Lakers for a while, but if you watch the Lakers this last week, if you watch the Lakers this whole last week, the Lakers were down big twice to the Thunder, came back and won both games. They were down big against the Grizzlies, came back and won. It's like eventually LeBron and Anthony Davis just go, okay, we'll play some basketball.
You think they're just like, let's just.
If you watch the game two games ago against the Thunder, I watched the Lakers broadcast, so they're a little biased, right? Biased, but I'm watching the Lakers broadcast. And you guys just cut the game to 10. Just 10. Like back in the day, 10-point lead, 5 minutes to go. You still favor the other team. The Lakers broadcast goes, we got this. And they're still down 10 points. And they just say that. They go, like, blatantly. And then they cut to because it was also on NBA TV, like, covering the game. And the people on NBA TV are like, oh, yeah, the Lakers got this. It's just known that, like, LeBron can cover a 10-point difference. And,
right.
I think I noticed that the first time they played the Spurs this year is that when they just want to flip the switch, there's nothing a team like that can do.
Also keeping in mind, and I remember a few years ago when we first started doing this show, I was watching basketball, but not near like I am now. And you were kind of like teaching me, that's where I learned more of the like, oh, it's a game of runs. Like no one's out until they're out. Like the season is a game of runs, but then so is each game as a game of runs. Like it's crazy. But also you would point out, this is when LeBron was still in the East, and the Cavs never won the East. Like never, because they don't care. As long as they get to the playoffs, you have to beat LeBron like 7 times or 4 times.
Right.
So they don't even need to win all these games that they win. If they end up being like 3 or 4, which they won't, but they'll
be 2 or 3.
They will. But if they were like 3 or 4, it wouldn't matter. They would still be favored to win it because you still have to beat LeBron 4 times. It's crazy. Like it doesn't matter that the Jazz are going to probably win the West. Like the Jazz are not going to be the team. It's going to be the Lakers.
No.
Like it's crazy.
The other team that's like that, which is sad because they were like this last year too, is the Clippers. Like they're okay being 3, but they need to put a little more emphasis on winning games. Like they just really think that they're pure talent, right? Yeah. Like, but you also have to win basketball games at some point, and you have to win games in the regular season so your team learns how to win basketball games. Right. Like LeBron knows how to win basketball games. He doesn't need that time, but he does it just to be an asshole. Like at one point in the game last night, he was like, "Oh yeah, Grayson Allen is starting for the Grizzlies." Like, because Grayson Allen led the Grizzlies in minutes last night. Grayson Allen and Ja Morant both played 35 minutes, led the team. If Grayson Allen's leading your team in minutes, you should beat that team. Because that's like the best. That's like going and playing a pickup game and like the best white dude there. You're like, wow, that guy's incredibly good at basketball, but he's also playing a pickup game. You know, like Grayson Allen's that dude if he made the NBA.
Yeah, which
is awesome. Yeah, for him.
So yeah, I don't know. I do like that. I think it's cool that the Hornets are doing pretty good. Like all these teams. If you look at the East and the West right now, like I would be comfortable with anointing all 16 teams on both sides the same. Like if it's the same way at the end of the season where each one is in the rankings, I wouldn't be surprised with any of these teams.
Right now the only thing is right. I know it's Thibodeau, so like New York could stay in that eighth spot, but I think either Miami or Atlanta catches.
Atlanta probably though. Yeah.
I watched Atlanta play last night. It'd probably be more Miami because Atlanta. The Spurs played them last night, and we put a 40-point lead on them in the first half.
Yeah, I did see that.
Atlanta has the worst defense the last 3 years consistently I've ever seen in the NBA. It is a game of runs, though. So we were up 40 at one point. 44 was our biggest lead. And we only won the game by like 10 points because we put in like the bottom of our bench, and they put in the bottom of their bench, and they cut 30 points out of that lead just because like – they were trying. I think we were just like, hold on to the lead. We actually had to put one of our starters back in for the last 2 minutes just to make sure we didn't like give up a 40-point lead. And it was embarrassing. But no, their defense is really bad. So I don't know about Atlanta's offense. Good. Their offense is just so good. I think they'll have a chance. And it's hard to trust the Knicks, right? Like even if they're not intentionally tanking, I don't trust them.
Also,
the West is right. I think you're right with the West, though. The West might be a lock already.
Right. I mean, I think I could see Golden State climbing a little bit more.
Yeah, we played them on a back-to-back this week. And we talked about it on the show last week, right? Like, if you beat a team night one of a back-to-back, they're going to beat you the next night. Like, teams just don't win those 2 games in a row things anymore. Until Portland. They played 2 games in a row last night and the night before, and they won both of them. And Melo had 2 good games. Like, it just totally snapped my theory for the entire league.
I liked what you said. I was very intrigued in the possible Blake Griffin to Portland.
He's just sitting there, man. Like if you watch he doesn't play every game because he's, I think he's still kind of recovering from something. He doesn't play every game for the Pistons, but when he does, you can tell there's a lot left. And maybe that's why they're kind of like playing him every other game, like maybe they're kind of saving him for a trade or something like that. I don't know. But last year there was the Kevin Love rumors, right? Like we kind of thought that might happen. Other people thought it might happen. I think Blake Griffin makes more sense to me.
Oh yeah, I mean, that team. He does in style of play, but also just in, like I said, even how like Enes Kanter fits in, even with his personality in Portland. I just think Blake Griffin would complement them well, and vice versa.
And then they drafted Detroit. Detroit drafted Sadiq Bey out of Villanova, which he was like rumored to go to the Spurs in the draft. We went a different direction. That dude is a monster, man. Like, I think eventually they move him into the starting lineup and then get rid of another veteran. Like, they already got rid of Riz. I think they want to make more room for the young guys. Portland seems like their bench has added a lot of trade value because they're all playing well right now, right? Like now, like was it Simone and a couple of the other guys? Like they've played themselves into trade bait territory because they're playing so well.
Trade bait. I love
trade bait territory.
I love a little trade bait, baby.
Or if you're Portland, you just give up some draft picks, right? Like you keep everyone you have, and then you just
do a bunch of drafts
because you want to win now. Like if you're Portland, now's your maybe your only opportunity for a while.
Well, I don't think they don't want to waste Damien's, because I mean honestly, like they do the whole like loyal to the soil thing, and he definitely looks like he wants to stay in Portland, but also at the same time, like at a certain point, like LA is going to start to look really like hot to him.
Oh
yeah, because that's where you go to win championships. That's where you go to win championships.
A little tasty down in LA.
Isn't Damian Lillard from like the Oakland area?
Yeah.
So maybe Golden State even.
I don't think you can have him and Steph on the same team. I think that's why this never happened. Like I think he understands that as long as Steph is there, I mean, not that having two like elite level point guards is a bad problem, but it is. They are going to take away from what each other do, especially when Klay comes back, because then that's three super like shoot heavy guards.
Yeah,
but Golden State looks great. I think when Golden State gets Klay back, they've put like a nice young group around it now, and they're winning without him. Not a lot. They're barely above 500, but they look like a pretty good team. I think they're going to go on a mini run. I think Golden State over the next week or two goes on one of those mini pre-All-Star break runs.
Steph looks like a freak this year.
Yeah.
God, dude, he made me so sad this week. He's so hard to. The Spurs were on the receiving end of two just insane Steph Curry highlights in 1 week, but we won one of those games, so I'll take it. But yeah, he makes me sad.
Man, basketball season. It's that time. That's exciting. I don't want the All-Star game to happen. I'll just throw it out there.
They're not going to do it, are they?
They're doing it.
They're doing it.
What if a player doesn't want to play with it? Like, no.
They get fined. If you don't want to play, if you're LeBron James and you refuse to play, you pay a fine.
What's the fine?
I don't know.
I don't think I'd take the fine probably.
The younger players that don't make LeBron James money aren't going to do it. And yeah. LeBron's like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. But you can tell, like, he knows it's such an honor to be voted into the game that he's gonna play no matter what. And then I guess the scoop is that they're gonna do the dunk contest just at halftime of the game instead of doing it as its own thing. So normally the dunk contest, 3-point contest, Rising Stars, that's all the day or two before the All-Star game. So there's like All-Star weekend. Now they're just gonna do like one event. And it's in Atlanta, which is already open, right? Like I watched the Hawks Spurs game last night, and they have fans in the stands. The joke was that Sean Elliott, who's the Spurs color commentator, one of the greatest Spurs of all time, mentioned that he's like back when I was playing, this was a normal Atlanta crowd, like because there's like 100 people in the crowd. He's like, back in the day, this was just an Atlanta crowd. Like the COVID crowd now is what Atlanta crowds just used to be on a good night. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, Atlanta's open. So I think that's the other thing that's kind of freaking the players out, right? Like,
yeah,
we're gonna bring all the best players from all the best teams and put them in an open city together.
It just seems like under the circumstances you've made this work so far. Like, why risk it for a game that doesn't matter? Just keep playing the regular season. Just don't do the All-Star stuff. Like it's okay. We'll be fine.
Well, and give them a little break, right? Like, because the other thing is that potentially, because we had to push the Olympics. Potentially, we still have the Summer Olympics coming this next summer now because they got delayed, right? So we have the Olympics coming. When are these guys going to get a break? It's going to go finals, Olympics, and then another season.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think some of them just realize like there's no time off in the near future if you're a good player on a good team, unless you want to take the Olympics off. So maybe that's what LeBron does, right? Like LeBron just doesn't play in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I don't think he was going to anyways.
No, probably not.
Well, like you don't think he was going to do it because he's not good enough, or because?
No, I think he's just at the point of his career where he wants that time period to make Space Jam and do other stuff.
Dude, Space Jam's coming out this year, bro. Are we going to watch it together?
Yeah, we'll watch it. Question. Do you think in the next Olympics, do you think now they'll ask Melo to come play in the Olympics? Remember, he was sad the last time they didn't want him to go. But now he's been playing out again. He's like a star again.
Well, if it's up to Coach Pop, he probably won't go. Because I don't think Pop trusts him to play a consistent defense. But if a bunch of these players from like the Lakers and other teams that make the finals don't go, then yeah, you're going to have to get veteran leadership from somewhere. So then yes. I know for the qualifier, I believe they're just going to use G League players to do the actual qualifier game. So it won't even be NBA players. But, back in the day, they didn't use NBA players anyways until finally, the Dream Team got put together and then that became the new norm, right? Like after the Dream Team, it became the standard to use the best players in the world.
Well, should have been the standard anyways, right?
It just wasn't a big deal back then.
Oh,
I don't think like competing in the Olympics really meant anything to NBA players, so they didn't do it. They used college players, people fresh out of high school, like young people.
Yeah,
is who did it originally, and now it's like we got to send our best guys or we lose. That's what we realize when we don't send the very best players. We're not a lock to win the Olympics. Like we lose it, even sometimes with good people. So we lost the FIBA championship to Australia. Patty Mills, who's a bench player for my Spurs. Like he's not even a starter in the NBA and his team won the FIBA World Cup. So we got to send the big boys.
The big boys.
Big boys.
So I'm hoping, and I think we will. This is the Olympics. I think we care more about the Olympics than the FIBA World Cup. So
yeah,
I hope LeBron plays. And I hope he uses it to market Space Jam 2, which I'm not going to see because it's not the real sequel. The real sequel is the one that I came up with.
The one that you came up with? Your pick.
It's almost happened. So we got James Harden. We got 3 of the 4 original Thunder on one team. We have James Harden, Jeff Green, and Kevin Durant. If we get James Harden, Jeff Green, Kevin Durant, and they trade for Westbrook, it's happening. Space Jam 2, the real one. And Seattle gets their team back. They all intentionally leave the Nets at the same time. They're like, "Fuck this team," which is totally not allowed.
They leave Kyrie behind, right?
They leave Kyrie. They actually ask Steve Nash. They ask Steve Nash to go, "Steve, can you just let us out of our contract so we can go back to Seattle?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, pardon," because he's Canadian. He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Well, yeah, you're really putting me over a rail here, boys. But I guess I gotta." And he just randomly lets go.
That Steve Nash goes with him.
No, Steve Nash goes with him. So Steve Nash is Bill Murray from the original one, where he just like shows up at the end and he has to play.
Yeah.
So hold on. So Bill Murray's going to play Steve Nash.
That's even better.
That's even better. Yes.
Okay, I'm on board if that happens.
I am gonna watch it. I mean, yeah, it's Space Jam.
Zach's gonna watch it. He's lying. He's fibbing.
I think.
Well, I will watch it, but it's not Space Jam.
You're right. I don't know what's the alternate name then.
Earth Lunar Ball, Lunar Dunk, Galaxy Ball. I don't know. Or like Space Jam 1.5, but like the real Space Jam 2.
So the real Space Jam is getting the Sonics back together? I don't get it.
Yeah.
No one wants that. No one wants that.
Everyone wants that.
I don't want it. I don't want it because I like seeing people sad.
I would love it. I'm just wondering what team they would move there. It was always supposed to be like the Kings, but then they got their new stadium.
Right.
I would say the next in line is probably the Pelicans. That's what I've read. Is like the next most likely is the Pelicans.
And wasn't there even just last year, the year before, there was a bunch of turmoil in New Orleans anyways, right? With that team.
Right.
Like are they playing in an outdated stadium or something? Like they wanted
and they're owned by the owners of the Saints, who really don't give a shit about basketball too.
Yeah.
So
I remember there was some stuff a couple years ago where the Pelicans were like probably not going to be the Pelicans anymore. But then it kind of did.
And they've already been in and out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the old Charlotte Hornets
or whatever.
They are, yeah. You're right.
They're the old Charlotte Hornets, and then they became the New Orleans Hornets, and like they just never really fit. Charlotte got their team back. They became the Pelicans. They should be the Seattle Supersonics.
Wasn't there like a Bobcat team or something for a second?
Charlotte had the Bobcats until they got the Hornets name back from the Pelicans.
Okay,
that's right.
So when Michael had the team originally, like when Michael first like became the president or whatever, they were still the Charlotte Bobcats, and it was awful. Not that Bobcats isn't a cool name. It just made no sense. Like the Hornets name is available. You're the same colors. Just go get your logo back. So they did.
Yeah.
You guys, the Super Bowl happened this last weekend.
Yeah,
and we're not even talking about it because that's how little we cared about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, I'd rather just throw a little shout out to Edge, who won the Royal Rumble. That was pretty sweet.
I was the only one that wasn't excited about that.
I just thought it was cool.
It was just too. I understand it's predetermined or whatever, but Jesus Christ, man, you knew Randy Orton was going to come back out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
At least like let him just lay on the ground outside the. He didn't have to like go back and pretend he had a leg injury.
Philip Grunhard says Thunder are the Sonics organization. Yeah, but they wouldn't. But the Thunder aren't going to go back to Seattle because the Thunder are a staff. They're fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the only show in town in Oklahoma City. They're the
and
they're the only show in town there, and they do well. They sell out games.
They do. Yeah.
Phil's a Utah Jazz fan, so don't trust anything he says. Just don't even look at him. Don't even look at him.
No, I would say they either get like a team like the Pelicans, or they just actually expand the league more, which has always been rumored anyways, right? So then they just add another team or two. Like they'll add two more teams. But
like why do we have to move a team there? Let's just make this league bigger.
And I think that's always going to be the plan. But I don't know. There's a couple teams that don't really do well currently, right? Like if they're not putting people in the seats where they currently are, why not move them? And like Seattle's going to have that newly renovated Key Arena, so they can release the Kraken this next year. And it's going to be there. But yeah, they should expand. That's a better solution.
I mean, teams that aren't filling the stadium, is that just because they're not winning?
If they expanded, would they do one new East and West team, do you think? Like give one to Seattle, then give one to like Jacksonville or something?
That's the problem, is you don't know who the next one would be. Because for a while they wanted it to be London, but how inconvenient is that for every other team that has to travel there? I don't like that. I've never liked that.
I think that's
I've never liked that for an NFL either. I hate the idea. I think it's a stupid idea.
At least with the NFL, it's once a week.
I love the London games, though.
No, at least in the NFL, it's once a week. In the NBA, it's a constant road show, though, right? Like it's just it sounds like
a nightmare,
an inconvenience.
Yeah. So I'd say like. So West, you go Seattle. East, you go like, I don't know, like Pittsburgh?
Buffalo. Just a really gritty Buffalo team.
I mean, Pittsburgh doesn't need a basketball.
Pittsburgh, it's the only professional sport they don't have.
That's true. I mean, they have, Pittsburgh would make sense. No, Vegas.
I think. Ooh, Vegas. There you go. Okay, I wasn't even. Phil wins.
So you go Vegas and Seattle. Just do 2 West teams.
And then move one of the whatever team that's currently in the West that's furthest east, move them to the East.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like move Oklahoma City to the East.
No, I was gonna say Philip actually just beat me to it. Or do you just make Las Vegas the East? You just say that's the East team. It's east of San Francisco.
It's east of something for sure. No, they can figure it out. Just pick one.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm into that. Thanks, Phil. I'm glad someone thought of Vegas because Vegas makes total sense.
You know, as much as I don't like Phil, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Do you not like him because he's smart? Is that why?
I do like him. He's an asshole. So.
Well, he's a
Cowboys fan and a Jazz fan, so just like fuck him, you know.
Interesting combo. I'm curious to why.
Well, because we're from Idaho and we have nothing. You know what I mean? It's same.
Right. You just have to pick stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we'll know like Southern Idaho, they're all Jazz fans.
Yeah. Oh, I know a lot of Jazz fans, man.
Yeah. So
a lot of Jazz fans. If anything, I get more of a like, why do I like? And the Cubs, but the Cubs is like a national brand to me, right?
Yeah.
So is Dallas. So that makes sense. Yeah. 89, baby.
All right, so let's talk the Super Bowl.
Let's do it.
All right, so first
halftime was great.
Halftime was
okay. No, that was also stupid. I hated that too.
Why?
He was like, I put all this money into it. It wasn't even that cool. You went through a little fucking like mirror house and you had some creepy fucking like Silent Hill looking.
Oh, that's a smart thing to do because they have to wear masks. So like,
wear masks.
Whatever, dude.
I like that. So
no, they don't have to wear masks in Tampa. You don't have to do anything in Tampa. You saw the parade. I didn't see one mask in that entire parade.
Yeah,
the boat
parade. That's just the people. That's just people out there. Like this is the organization. They had to do the masks. Dude, they had like what's her face on the sidelines. She was wearing a mask. She's near no one. Anyway, so here's my question for you from the Super Bowl. Do you think there's any chance the Kansas City doesn't go to the playoffs? You know, do they have the curse? Do they not make the playoffs? I don't think it happens. I think they go absolutely go back to the playoffs. Honestly, I think Kansas City is probably in the best position to get the Super Bowl again.
Unless they have some crazy injuries, because San Francisco would have been in the playoffs had they not lost.
Right. Injuries can change everything, and that's unpredictable. But we're saying like barring, like let's put injuries aside. The team that they have right now is more than capable of going back. Although what I do like about this is it just shows that they're not this dynasty already, right? Like the season wasn't even midway through when people were already anointing them the next dynasty. Oh, Pat Mahomes is going to win 3 to 5 more Super Bowls over the next decade. Like he's always going to be there. And yes, he is always there, but I'm glad he lost so we can at least chill for a year, right? Like give it another year or two before we start giving it to him. And like, I don't care if Tom gets another one. At this point, we're all desensitized to it, right? Like there was at one point of my life where I didn't want Tom Brady to win another championship. Like I just didn't want to watch it. At this point, I don't care. Like it's going to happen. As long as he's out there, it could keep happening. It could happen again next year. I had my doubts because I didn't think they could click in one season, and they were only a wild card team, so I've had that against them too. But they just looked like such a better team the entire game.
Yeah, it was insane. I just didn't think I didn't think Kansas City was going to play that bad.
And you know, they tried to make a storyline out of the offensive line, and we kind of blew it off. So you know, they had both their tackles out, and we said, "Oh, they're just trying to make a storyline to make it seem like the Chiefs are beatable," and it turned out no. The Buccaneers pass rush is insane, even with your best guys. Yeah. And now you're going out there with a backup offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, remember we talked about we didn't know if that was actually a real, if they. We didn't know if that was a narrative they were just trying to paint to make it seem like they were the Buccaneers had a chance. The problem is that I never thought the Buccaneers were if Tom's on the team, I've never considered him the underdog, and I hate that narrative. I've never ever considered him the underdog in a game.
Yeah. Like what? Like what was it? New England 2-3 years ago? They're like they're the underdog.
No, it's a huge mistake to do it, and it's annoying. It's annoying at this point because we know they're not.
You're not the underdog. You can't have that many Super Bowls with that quarterback and be like he's the underdog.
And they always have the players they'll go like Edelman or something on the Patriots would go like, oh, nobody thought we could do it. No, shut the fuck up. We all thought you could do it. We all didn't want you to do it. We don't like you.
Yeah. The thing is, just because everyone hates you doesn't make you the underdog.
That's a good
not how that works.
Right, yeah.
The Mighty Ducks were the underdog, okay?
Yeah, against Iceland, for sure, man.
Iceland, the Hawks,
hell yeah.
The seniors in Mighty oh fuck me.
I'm pretty sure 2 of the players on the Iceland team were like 25 years old.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
At least.
And Emilio was trying to get his dick wet.
Are you guys going to watch it? The new Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, well, because what's his name from
Emilio's back though.
What's his name from Letterkenny's the coach, and that's funny to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You watch Letterkenny, right?
Yeah. So Emilio's not the coach?
Not Jonesy, but the other guy.
Oh, really?
Coach in the trailer, yeah. Watch the trailer. Wow. It's him.
I'll have to check that out.
I haven't even seen the trailer yet. I agree with Phil, though. I think it's going to like trigger Rodgers, but I think what it's also done is like trigger the Packers, right? Because now all of a sudden the Packers organization's like, when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you do whatever you can to keep the guy. You know, they're just like super kissing Rodgers' ass now, which is awesome to me because Rodgers deserves to have his ass kissed. But
after that season. Right.
Rodgers is a smart guy. I agree. Like Brady's a smart guy. Brady doesn't go to Tampa if he doesn't think they're ready to win a Super Bowl year 1. Yeah. And it just shows like there's multiple reasons that Tom Brady's the GOAT. 1, because he's just the greatest to ever do it. But 2, he's the smartest to ever do it. Right. Like I think he could. There's a couple places he could have went and done it. I think he could have done it in Cleveland. I think he could have went to Cleveland and won a championship year 1. Tampa, I think that maybe a couple others. Like if he wanted to just jump ship and go to New Orleans now that Drew Brees is retired, he could win a championship there next year. If he wanted to, if he called Cleveland today and goes, I want to be your starting quarterback, they'd probably just cut Baker and they'd take him and go win a championship. He knows what he's doing, but that's another reason. Like people can make all the arguments in the world they want, right? Yeah, ass kisses don't win Super Bowls. Eventually Aaron Rodgers is going to have to say, like, Tom Brady was right. And I just need to go to the best possible spot available. Like, what gives me the best chance to win right now? And maybe we start seeing that more with quarterbacks. But we were arguing on the Super Bowl about what makes someone like the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, most arm talent, smartest, whatever it is. Because, you know, people are always going to throw out people like Pat Mahomes, Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers, John Elway. But, like, it's Tom Brady. Because your only job at any position is to win games, right? So, fuck every statistic. They don't matter. Tom Brady has more championships than any single team has championships.
Right, yeah.
You know, Tom Brady is the greatest, absolute greatest NFL quarterback to ever play.
And he has, like, what, like... So, how, like the Cowboys have, I mean, how many playoff appearances does he have? 10? No, he has 10.
Tom Brady,
or
Tom
9?
Brady has like, I want to say Tom Brady has like 16 playoff appearances or more.
Appearances,
more. It's more for sure.
A couple. 7, 8, 9 Super Bowl appearances, right? No, 10 Super Bowl appearances because
10.
Lost to Manning twice and Foles.
Yeah.
So he has like.
Yeah. Well, somebody was saying you at least have to put him in your Rushmore, and I say at this point he almost has gotten 4 places on his own Rushmore.
You can only put him on a Rushmore with like people from other sports at this point. You can't put him on a Rushmore with other
NFL
quarterbacks because he has 3 more Super Bowls than any other single NFL quarterback.
I was thinking about this. I'm glad that he, as a Steelers fan, I'm glad if he was going to win another ring, I'm glad it wasn't with the Patriots at least. Like, I'm glad it wasn't the Patriots who got the 7th Super Bowl.
But that's what's interesting to me is that all these arguments that we hear, whether it's Rodgers, whether it's Pat Mahomes, anybody, people just say, if they get a couple, they're the greatest of all time because we know that they're just a better true quarterback than Tom Brady. And to me, still fuck that. Absolutely disagree. Someone has to catch Brady to be Brady. That's it. And I don't like Tom Brady. I'm not trying to sit here and marry the dude. Although
I mean,
I would for the money.
You guys know how I feel about even this last Super Bowl, and I'm not. Me saying I'm not impressed doesn't mean he's not the greatest of all time.
He is
because regardless, they don't win that without Brady. That's why they don't win that. They're not even in the playoffs if they keep Winston.
Yeah.
So they did.
Maybe he had eye surgery.
Well, they might have made the playoffs. You're right. They might have made the playoffs.
Dan Patrick's show always done like who would you rather, like whose career. So it was like they do like polls, and the poll was whose career would you rather have, Tom Brady's now or what could potentially be Pat Mahomes' career. And hands down, you have to take Brady because I don't think anyone ever does what Brady's done ever again. I don't think anyone ever. I don't think in our lifetime we never see another quarterback win that many Super Bowls. Not a chance in hell. I just don't think so.
If we do, cool.
Oh, if we do, great.
If he's a 49er, even better.
Sure. But if he
absolutely, you bet, bud.
But I just don't think we ever see it again. I think it's once in a lifetime. We just don't ever see this again.
I agree. I don't think in our lifetime we do see it again. Because you have to start young, right? Like Tom Brady did his first one young. Like he's still messed up. It's a 20+ year career. In 20 something years, you get 7 right. It still shows you have to miss a lot of times. So you have to start. There's no one you can even like. If Mahomes wins this one, that's what they wanted. They wanted the next guy in line, right? But he loses. That's one less year he has an opportunity to do this. It just shows how hard it is.
Yeah.
Well, you've put it in perspective for me several times too. It's like you have to root for. So like the Steelers this last year went 11-0 and made the playoffs, and it sucks and how the season fizzled out. But how hard is it of 32 teams? Only 2 teams get to go to the Super Bowl. Like your success has to be measured in a lot of different categories. So just because, so like Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl win, and if he only ever gets the 1 Super Bowl, that's still a successful career. It's still not as impressive as Brady, but it's still successful because he made it. But then you got Dan Marino, who never won a Super Bowl, still successful career. Like, it's just the measure so different.
To what Phil said, if you want to highlight the bottom comment from Phil, I do agree with you, Phil. I'm not saying that, okay, when I said Tom Brady is the only one, I mean like with what they had available. Sure, in like a perfect world, they could have maybe made a trade for somebody, but for what was on the market this last year, who were the other free agents? I'm trying to remember. Does anyone remember who the free agents were last year for quarterbacks?
Rivers, right?
Philip?
Yeah. Nobody else?
No, there was one more. There was one more guy.
Who else?
Cam Newton.
This year. So none of the other options that were available.
Philip Rivers.
But yeah, there's probably more than 3 quarterbacks that are starting currently in today's NFL that could have won with this Bucs roster for sure, right? Rodgers could have, Breeze probably could have. I don't know.
I think
is all Sean Payton, but
I think the Saints actually. I think the Saints team is just as good as the Buccaneers this year.
So this is interesting though because he said Rivers, right? But Tom Brady goes to the Colts, they win more games than what the Colts won this year. They go further in the playoffs.
I actually think that if Tom Brady went to the Colts, they would have won the Super Bowl.
They would have been there.
Yeah.
I think they could have beaten the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Agreed. 100%.
So I don't know. The NFC was stacked, man. Philip Rivers would have screwed up the game against the Packers somehow.
Yeah.
Tom Brady almost screwed up the game against the Packers, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, he gave the Packers 3 different opportunities to come back, and
he threw 3 picks. Philip throws like 5 in that game because it's Philip, and he's never won a playoff game, bud. So like he did. Philip Rivers played like 20 years, and he never won a playoff game.
And I just don't think Cam Newton's that good.
No, he's past his prime for sure.
Sadly, I mean, I would have liked to seen him do better. I would have liked to see him do subpar in like New England, so he'd have to like they'd want to try to keep him another year. But he did so bad, they're just going to move on.
Yeah.
Oh, they're moving on for sure. The Patriots are definitely whatever's next. There's all these rumors about all the different QB movement.
Nick Wright had this blockbuster. You keep talking, I'll pull it up.
So
there's Nick Wright had a bunch of different ones, and then obviously ESPN has like the 18 quarterbacks that could potentially move. I still think that Matt Ryan goes to the Colts. Like that's depending on how the draft goes. So that's the other thing with these teams near the top is it really depends. That's a good point. Philip Rivers did play in the AFC Championship with no ACL.
But then I don't like no Colts offense not good enough. It doesn't matter if your defense is that good. I don't think.
And Tom Brady protects the ball better than Phil does. Like bottom line.
Yeah, and
we don't know that the Colts offense isn't that good. Like we don't know. That's just what they look like with Philip Rivers.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Colts defense was better than the Bucs defense. So put the Colts defense against the broken ass O-line of Kansas City.
Well, so the other thing though is like Phil's absolutely right. If you just think about how many weapons Tom Brady had in Tampa this year.
I mean, I agree. I've been screaming about the top 3 star receivers they had for.
Well, and just think about the tight end position. O.J. Howard doesn't get hurt. Brate never steps up and becomes a stud. That also leaves room for Brate and Gronk. Gronk was pretty quiet this year, and then all of a sudden he scores the first 2 touchdowns of the Super Bowl.
And I think was that the plan? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Was the plan to kind of like have him block, kind of have him seem like he's dumbed down, maybe not that big of a star, and then have Kansas City think that they're not going to go to him, and then they do.
So Uncle Dan Patrick, he says it best. He's like, Gronk had a very different role in this team where basically all season he was just blocking. And then all of a sudden it's like Brady wanted him on that team as a safety net because he knew that that's where he would be able to go.
Yeah, so Sean, I don't think it was intentional to save him for that long, right? But I think what probably happens is like the week of the game, you realize it, right? Like, oh, we haven't been using Gronk. They might not be planning for this. So and then why not take advantage of that?
I mean, I don't think they were like
save him all year because that's a pretty risky move.
Yeah, but fuck. I mean, and I watched the fucking whole game. I mean, I was playing video games while watching, so.
I played video games the entire time too. Do you guys want to hear this blockbuster trade though?
Yeah, yes. I've been seeing a bunch of them.
So this is Nick Wright. This is nothing. This is hot take Nick Wright, whom I love actually. I mean, I think he's great. But he covered. I don't know, Zach, if you saw, but he covered the herd all week.
By the way, hold on real quick. Philip said name 5 offensive players from the Colts. I can name just like 3 running backs or 3 tight ends. Like. Mo Alley-Cox, Trey Burton, Jack Doyle, that's just tight ends. Like,
yeah.
Pittman was an awesome rookie. Jonathan Taylor was an awesome rookie. Naheem Hines had a good year.
Their running back rotation was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what dude. At this point, that dude's lost me at this point.
Phil has done too many drugs, man. I'm telling you. He smokes weed.
What team does Phil watch?
He's a Dallas fan, man.
Oh, okay. We're done here. All right.
And by the way, if you say Trey Burton, Trey Burton's a good tight end, and Jonathan Taylor's going to be a good running back. Naheem Hines is a good receiving running back. Pittman looked like a good rookie wide receiver. And I didn't even say T.Y. Hilton, right?
Yeah, that was
then, and what's his name? Had he not gotten hurt, running back. Help me. Not Hines.
Marlon Mack.
Yeah, Mack. Had he not got injured, that's a great backfield.
I was so sad as a Steeler fan to not get Jonathan Taylor. It was so close. It was so.
I know you wanted him.
Oh, hey, Randy, good timing. I was just going to mention.
Oh, yeah. And so does Gronk, so does Antonio Brown, so does Fournette.
Okay.
Can you highlight that? Because these are people that Brady brought in. He's bringing them with you.
Yeah. These guys didn't go to Tampa Bay because
no, they never would have went.
They never would have. Gronk wouldn't have came out of retirement without Tom saying, "Hey, let's go."
Oh man, Gronk was the 24/7 champ of wrestling. He was making like his transition to
making moves
to have fun. You know?
I'm super glad I watched him get that 24-hour. I watched it live.
I wish they would have let him have it for the whole season, and then during the Super Bowl, R-Truth came out and like pinned him pinned him in the
sideline.
Scores a touchdown.
But my comment to Riz Nation is if they bring Gronk and Fournette onto the Colts, then they have like 17 running backs and 5 tight ends.
And
speaking of Riz Nation, though, I want to talk about this little blockbuster trade because in general, I still don't think Deshaun Watson's going to the Jets. But if he goes, we're going to get Randy on the show. Probably maybe next Saturday or the Saturday after. I want him to make his case. I also said that once Deshaun Watson is moved, he will be on the show again, whether it's on the Jets or not on the Jets.
So if we don't like his take, can we have bells and just shame him? Shame. Randy,
by the way,
he's got to be naked though.
He is
right now.
Randy always asks why I hate him, which I don't. I don't hate him. I actually love that we disagree on so many things. By the way, if you get a chance, his show is on KLCZ. It is a great show. I finally have gotten able to listen to it. But he's like kind of doing what we did in the beginning there, starting off on KLCZ, doing a sports show.
No cussing.
That's tough to do.
If you can do an hour of no cussing, you're meant for this.
What do you mean, no cussing?
We couldn't cuss on the radio show.
Oh, we can cuss now.
Fuck yeah, we can. All right. Here's the blockbuster.
Well, I knew we couldn't cuss on the radio show. I remember.
Philip said Dak. My dad's a Steelers guy, so is Derek, and that's who my dad wants. My dad wants Dak.
So Dak, right? So here's my thing with Dak. I still can see his ankle injury right now, dude.
Oh yeah.
I can see him trying to like punch it back into place. It was so fucking.
Oh, that poor dude. Also, just him. This always kills me too. Zach, you guys know this, but Dak crying,
right?
He's not crying. You know, he's not crying because of the pain.
Yeah.
Like he's crying because of the season, and it's like, or even his potential career.
Yeah,
right.
And that was so heartbreaking. By the way, Dak was on the video. So, Alex Smith did get Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah,
I personally think they should change that name of that award to the Alex Smith Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Dak was on that video. You can go online and watch Alex Smith watching all these different players that he's played with and stuff, like sending him a message. And Dak is like one of the last ones. And he's like, "Hey man, you're an inspiration, especially with the injury I just had." Like, I would love to see. I'm excited to see Dak come back because I feel for the dude. But like,
and he was having like a monster.
He was playing good.
How many 500-yard games did he have? Was it like 2 or 3? It was like 2 or 3.
They still were a losing team. I mean, I'll say that.
But had he been there, do you think
Dak's injury
over Washington?
This is true. Dak wasn't as bad, dude. But him trying to punch his foot back into place, like that's That's how competitive Dak was. Is he like grabbed his foot and he's like, "I'll punch my foot into place so I can play."
I'm gonna be fine.
I know this sounds weird, but I actually like Dak in Dallas. Like, I like him there. I think he fits really well with that team. I hope they find a way to hold on to him. I hope they finally just pay the guy. It might be too late, but I like him there.
Yeah, me too. All right.
I like him there because they can't win, so keep him.
Here's the
I don't know.
So I want you guys to tell me what you think about this blockbuster trade.
Okay, hold on. Does it involve Russell?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I want to hear it.
This is the trade proposal that Nick Wright said on the Herd this week. By the way, Nick Wright covering for the Herd makes the Herd listenable. So
yeah, he's awesome.
Well, I don't know why. It doesn't matter. Joy Taylor. Oh, she always sounds like she's on the verge of crying. But let's. So in this trade,
she's so great.
I know I love her, but she does always sound like she's gonna cry.
She has her own podcast too, so you can listen to that for like hours.
Yeah. I heard she covered for a radio show, but she covered for like Jason Smith or whatever over one of the weekends, and it was really good. But I was like, man, stop crying, Joy. Okay, so 14. This is 4 teams. So the Jets would receive Russell Wilson. The Niners would receive Deshaun Watson.
See, okay, this is the one I saw. Yep.
The Seahawks receive Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Bosa, and the 23rd New York Jets pick, and a 2022 first round pick from San Francisco. The Texans would receive Sam Darnold, number 2 pick from the Jets, number 12 pick from San Francisco, number 34 pick from the Jets, and a 2022 first round pick from the Jets. It's obviously he's a hot take.
It's a fantasy trade. It's a fantasy trade.
Here's the one part I don't like. The one part that really doesn't make any sense to me. Of the 3 teams, it's the Seahawks getting Jimmy Garoppolo. I just don't know if they want Jimmy Garoppolo.
So
I don't even care to have him.
Being the only fan of one of the teams involved in this blockbuster trade, Nick Bosa is going nowhere. Not happening.
Agree. That's the first thing I thought. Like, why?
Not happening.
Why do you don't trade Nick Bosa?
Nick Bosa goes nowhere. The only person.
Can I throw in a little counter though? Real quick. What if they could attract JJ Watt?
Who cares about JJ Watt's 32 and fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, JJ Watt's going to come into a team where he barely has to play. Like, he's going to go to Pittsburgh. He's going to take.
We all know he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
He's going to go to Pittsburgh. He's going to take 25 snaps a game, right? Situational play. And then in the playoffs, they'll just unleash the beast.
So
he won't take as much money, or he won't need as much money because he doesn't need it, and he's also shown that he's not as big on it. Like, remember, he donated like one of his years to like the hurricane relief.
He already had like $150 million contract. You know what I mean? Like, he's already done the thing.
And if he just wants to play with Derek and TJ Watt, like, he'll just go do it.
It's bro time officially.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think JJ Watt goes just either someplace he thinks he's going to win a Super Bowl or with his brothers.
Okay. I agree with what Phil also said. He said Seahawks not far from a rebuild. They just got done with a rebuild. We just didn't like notice it as much because they had Russell Wilson, but the Legion of Boom all got swapped out for new people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the whole team changed around Russell to now where they're a playoff team again.
Well, like, and their receivers completely changed except for Lockett.
I mean, I could see.
I think they just got rebuilt, and I think we might see it again.
I mean, I think we could see it again, though. I just find it. I guess the part that I would find so hard would be like, let's get rid of Russell Wilson. I just don't see it.
He's there for life. He's the Seahawk for life.
And I don't see to mirror Sean. I don't see the 49ers getting rid of Nick Bosa so they can have Deshaun Watson. I just don't see it.
I just
don't need that. They don't need to do that. They could trade this year's and next year's first rounder, like, you know, a litany of first rounders and somebody else, and still get them.
I think you throw the Patriots in this and make it a five team block, and maybe you could see I could see Jimmy G going to New England, and maybe the Seahawks pick up Cam Newton, because I feel like they would do something dumb like that.
No, they wouldn't. Seahawks wouldn't do that. They're not getting rid of Russell. We need to quit acting like any scenario where a different quarterback going to Seattle even makes sense.
Well, that's the only reason it's like in the conversation is because Russell said he's sick of getting hit.
Yeah, true.
I know. Anytime anyone says anything now, the media creates the trade.
Yeah.
I think Deshaun Watson is most likely to here's the team. I'm going to pick who I think he goes to. I am going to still go with Miami. I think he goes to Miami because I think the Texans, they would get Tua. They would get Tua.
That sucks for Tua.
Yeah, it does really suck for Tua.
But you get Tua in a top 4 pick. So
do you think they're gonna give up Tua that soon?
I don't think so. I think that's why I've always kind of liked him more for the Jets, because I don't think you take the risk of giving up on Tua yet.
I was also going to say that if I thought it was crazy talk, but the more I've looked into it, also Randy has swung me a little bit on the Jets. Honestly, it's the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
They got that draft capital. I think that
it's a division he could go to and make a difference immediately.
One thing I did see on free agency is Solomon Thomas to the Jets because he wants to keep playing with Saleh.
Oh, that makes sense. The Jets have a good coach now,
Yeah.
I know it's not proven yet. Like, that's totally an assumption, but I think we're all hot on it.
So don't you think? Well, but also, like I said, don't you think that the Jets, if he goes to the Jets, it could be an immediate like game changer. Like, that division's not just locked in with Buffalo.
It's the NFL, man. Immediate game changers happen in the NFL, right? Like, unlike other sports, like a team can just flip the switch.
Jets and a Knicks fan, you gotta give props and love to Randy, because that is a man.
Well, he already missed the Thibodeau D-Rose talk.
That's a hard life to live.
It's rough.
I feel bad if
the Lions fan. So
I feel bad if Watson goes to the Jets. I really do.
I don't. I actually think that's a salvageable organization where, like, the Lions are a little scarier. I think in New York, just where you're at location wise, like, you can turn anything around in New York. It hasn't happened, but it's a good place for it to happen, right?
I don't feel as bad for him on the Jets. I'd feel bad for him in Detroit. I'd feel bad for him still in Texas, like in Houston.
Yeah, man. I don't know how the Texans organization is just considered such a dumpster fire, but they've really put themselves at the bottom of the barrel as far as where people consider a quality organization.
They kept Bill O'Brien for too long. Was
that Bill O'Brien's fault? Like, they made Bill O'Brien the general manager of the team when the dude has never been a general manager before. If they would have gotten him, let's go get you a world-class general manager, and then tell, hey, Bill O'Brien, don't make suggestions like trading DeAndre Hopkins for a running back.
A busted
Bill O'Brien, well, it doesn't matter. You just don't trade for running backs in 2020. Bill O'Brien, just be a coach. Like, maybe if that would have been the case, let's let the coach and the GM, maybe they had a chance.
Okay.
But that's not what they did. That's not what they did.
No.
I get scared of that now. And that's why, there's just certain teams that are always scary because they give too much power to one person.
That's true.
And that's why I'm really excited for my team, because we brought in fresh blood everywhere. So
yeah, they did. Yes, they did. I'm less excited for my team, but we'll see. That's where I'm at. Just we'll see.
Yeah, it's really easy to be optimistic in February.
I saw Drew Brees. He didn't announce retirement, but he's pretty much if he plays, he'll get paid $1 million.
Oh,
really?
Because he doesn't want to like take up any more of the team's salary, or
what was the? I'll let me look it up again. It was he. I think it was.
Do you think the fact that Tom is still playing keeps him playing too?
That who?
Like that Tom Brady's playing is like what's really preventing Drew Brees from retiring?
I feel like yeah.
Because if Tom walked away right now, I bet Drew Brees would feel better about it.
So Saints renegotiated Drew Brees' contract. The Saints made a big dent in their impending salary cap deficit by renegotiating the contract of Drew Brees. The team has renegotiated Drew Brees' contract to free up nearly $24 million for the 2021 deficit. The move lowers his base salary to a little less than $1 million.
Wow.
So I'm thinking what it means is he's probably looking at retiring. They just didn't want to. He didn't want to announce it yet. Maybe.
I mean that, or he just wants to like come back and give it a shot before making a decision.
Could be.
But he wants them to have the space available to make moves, right? Like if the team looks enticing enough, he comes back.
The records are so close for sure. He would have retired already if Tom was gone. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think a lot of these older guys care so much about stats, and it's like you can't. There's no way you can catch Tom on Super Bowls. So where do you beat him? Wins, completions, touchdowns, somewhere else. And then they're neck and neck in touchdowns, right?
I mean, I'm sorry to say, but in my eyes, Super Bowls are what matter.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care that you threw for 1 billion yards, whatever touchdowns. You didn't win a Super Bowl. You don't matter. That's why I don't give a shit about Tom Marino. You didn't win a Super Bowl.
But
Dan Marino,
Tom Marino is the guitar player for.
Did I say Tom Marino?
Yeah.
Dan Marino. I thought I said Dan, but Tom's the.
Definitely said Tom.
I like that you said Tom Marino.
Is it Rage?
What's that?
What guitar? He's
Rage
a guitar player. Yeah, Rage
Machine. Yeah. Which I almost, by the way, I almost said. I almost said he's the guitar player for Rise of the Machines.
Oh, the
which is a Terminator movie.
Yeah, the Terminator.
I thought you were going to say that other band they were in afterwards.
Anyways, fuck Dan Marino. He never won a Super Bowl. You didn't win a Super Bowl. You don't matter. That's me. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's too good.
Okay, he was a great guitar player in that movie.
That's not to say that you're not still a success though. Like I think
but it doesn't matter.
I mean it matters. It would matter individually. It
matters to assholes.
Like if I had, because only 2 teams can go to a Super Bowl every year. Like it would matter to me individually if I ended it and I was like, man, I had a pretty good run. I made a lot of money. I was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Like,
as a person, it can matter, but it shouldn't matter to anybody else. Cause you
just in the talk of like greatest of all time though, like, nobody can hold a candle to Tom. Like there's just no way.
Well, no, but that's fine. But Drew Brees won a Super Bowl. So great.
Like, he got one. Good.
Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl.
Great. Ben got 2. I mean, it's nothing now. Dan didn't. Neither did Tom Marino.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Brad Johnson over Dan Marino. Let's go. Brad Johnson's son, where did he end up going? Alabama? He went to a powerhouse school. So the next generation of hillbilly is slowly on its way to the NFL.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll even say this. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz didn't.
Yeah.
Yep, he's got the ring.
I don't care. You didn't win it. You didn't win it.
Real quick before we call, we're an hour and a half in. I will throw this out there real quick. I was really happy to see like Megatron was a first ballot Hall of Famer. I thought he should have been anyways.
Didn't win a Super Bowl.
Oh man, yeah, but they were with the Lions though. Like, come.
With skill positions, no one cares, Sean. When it comes to skill position players, no one cares if you win a Super Bowl.
It's harder to say that for anything else but quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't talk about like if like Aaron Donald doesn't win a Super Bowl and people are like, is Aaron Donald the best defensive tackle of all time? You go, how many rings has he got? Not as many as Tom.
Tom. Isn't it suck that for the Lions though? Doesn't it suck that like the legacy is that they have like these two amazing players that retired in their prime and they went Hall of Fame, first ballot, and then that's it. Like Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, like two of the best to ever play in those positions.
Played for the Lions.
And retired a Lion.
No, that's what I would say. If anyone ever said Aaron Donald, greatest defensive tackle of all time, I go, not as many rings as Tony Saragusa.
I
don't know.
I still feel like TJ Watt was a little robbed, but that's okay.
Fucking Tony Saragusa. If Tony Saragusa being a starting level professional athlete doesn't just bring the curmudgeon out of you, I don't know who you are.
Who is this gentleman you're speaking of?
Google Tony Saragusa. He won a fucking championship with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, he did.
Tony. How do you spell it? Tony
Siragusa. Siragusa.
Oh, there he is.
Okay,
tackle.
So let me ask
you. That boy is milky, dude.
Sean,
that's what I'm saying. How many rings does Aaron Donald have? Not as many as Tony Saragusa.
How many?
And that's fine. I back that up. Let me
ask you guys, whose career would you rather have? I'm going to play a little Dan Patrick now.
Tony Saragusa's.
Would you rather have? No, hold on. Would you rather have Donovan McNabb's career, or would you rather have Trent Dilfer's career? Trent Dilfer is one of the worst quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl ring. McNabb never got a ring.
Give me the Dilf, man.
You'll take Dilfer?
You get to chill most of your career on the bench, and then you just get to come in and win a Super Bowl. Like,
well, did I? So
and he does QB Academy. He does that. Okay.
So did I say to you guys that if I really wish Tom would have got hurt and then Blaine Gabbert would have won that Super Bowl? I said that to you guys, right? That's all I wanted.
You just have a crush on Blaine Gabbert, man.
Yeah, he's a handsome man. He could have been great, but he
handsome man.
Yeah. Let's ask the real question. If you always do, who would you rather be? Just give me whatever dude's the bigger stud.
Okay. So Jimmy G wins all day,
dude. On handsomeness,
yeah. Oh yeah.
But they're two different kind of hot. You know what I mean? Blaine Gabbert chews tobacco on the sideline, and then Jimmy G's just got that jaw.
Yeah, McNabb did do those like 3 straight NFC championships, and then finally, they get TO and they go to the Super Bowl, and that's the Super Bowl they lose to the Patriots. Honestly, man, like his career was still really good. Yes, no Super Bowls, but the dude balled out. Like it's not like you're comparing like some dude who was never in the mix. The dude was in the mix his whole career.
Also, you got to give McNabb credit because he is one of the reasons why Michael Vick got another, he got another run in the NFL also. That was like a lot of McNabb's doing.
Oh, yeah. That 30 for 30 is awesome.
Yeah.
Insightful. I shouldn't say awesome because
it's super sad, but
because it's incredibly sad and scummy. Yeah.
It is. I didn't know that McNabb was so involved in that though. Like him and Tony Dungy, and then obviously Andy Reid too.
Are we talking about Michael Vick being such a piece of shit or what?
Yes.
Well, the man, absolute legend, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah, sure. If you care about animals.
Did he ever win a Super Bowl?
Piece of shit.
Sure, Sean. Animals.
Sure, Sean. If you care about living creatures, yeah. He's pretty awful, I guess. Fine.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah, I guess.
Thanks for listening to the show, watching the show.
Don't dogfight.
We can still talk, but we're going to call this show. Everybody have a great weekend. watch basketball. That's pretty much. Oh, and NHL is going on too.
Hey, tonight is another UFC pay-per-view because today is just stacked with sports. I'm not going to go through the whole roster, but Gilbert Burns versus Usman. I'm going Usman all day. Like, they're trying to make this seem like it's competitive. Usman's unbeatable. Let's just next.
Okay.
Next. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Go Warriors.
Go Warriors.